here. Yeah, we're in a different location this time around. Let's see. I don't know what that might be picking up over there, but trees and what have you. Okay, let me check that out. I know I am about a half hour behind schedule today, so forgive me, but let those go out, let the notification go out as that takes place. Yes, we have toned it way down today. We are taking a break from something, but I wanted to get on here and talk about the narcissistic family patterns, because it dawned on me that not every narcissist, not every narcissist is very, I don't want to say family oriented, but your birds of the same feather flock together, right? So I have some examples that I want to share with you all about how it's different between different narcissists, because not all of them are all about family. You know what I mean? When I say family, I mean we are a kingdom family here, chosen ones, but I'm talking about how the matrix and the world defines family dynamics, right? We realize that family does not necessarily mean blood related. No. And yes, you all, we have figured it out, that underneath it all, we've got more coming for you on the Patreon channel, where I talk about the importance of thyroid health. So real quick, while I go ahead and do the usual check, I know, like I said, we were running about a half hour behind schedule today. I should have gotten on here probably and told y'all, hang tight, we coming. But I needed to get in the car. I needed to get to the location because I needed to check my box and some other things. And we had to do a major self-discovery journey today. The Lord had me make connection, okay? And it has to do with this topic as far as family dynamics when it comes to a narcissist, because not all of them are, well, we know that it's a very dysfunctional family. All right, when you're dealing with narcissists, it is highly dysfunctional. So we know that, but we also have to remember that not every narcissist is all about family, okay? Not every narcissist is about having blood-related things. Yeah, because that's what they think. The Matrix and everything else, they think that family is only blood related. And we know, chosen ones, we know that's not 100% the case. Okay, so anyhow, I wanted to go ahead and just let y'all know I'm fully aware of I'm going to monitor the chat over here while that goes out, and you all think about not all narcissists are family oriented. So let me get this out of the way quickly. I am Michelle Dickey, your host for CHA's Let's Just Chat show, streaming on the YouTube channel Narcissism and Cognitive Dissonance, where trauma healing and spiritual growth are front and center while combating radio frequency for healthier living. And so yes, we discovered this here, right here, you all. We are very aware of it, and we know it is thyroid related. Our thyroid got a little bruised during that physical attack, apparently. I did not know that right away. I'm fully aware of it now, and we are taking care of it. We know what to do. It's not our first rodeo per se, okay, but right, and that's not why I'm not wearing a choker today. It's just we're just doing some things differently. This right here was pretty much a regular, just mascara, lip gloss, and a little blush. That was like my used to be normal all the time while I was in undergrad, and oh yeah, for a good part of my life, this was just it, on and off. Now, I like my warrior makeup, don't get me wrong on that. It's just we want to take a break, and we also wanted to show you all that we can. Like I said, from time to time, I'm going to get up here and I'm going to let the world know that I have no problem compromising, because I am a faith-based public speaker for hire. I know some people don't like all the heavy makeup, and so they don't know that I'm willing to compromise if they don't like it and they don't want that. And that's why they're not hiring me to speak for their audience or to motivate their audience. Well, I let them know, hey, guess what? I can tone it down if you need me to, because I have important messages. That's really what matters. It's not the outward appearances. It's not the makeup. It's the message. It's God's spiritual truth. It's God's... Man, let me tell y'all something. When God reveals things to us, we have got to pay attention. God does not lie. Remember that. God is not a liar. So he had me reflect, and I will share this self-discovery with you because it's very, very important to understand. But let me finish the other thought about the thyroid. It's very important because you're going to hear more about it. Thyroid health, okay, as part of our combat against radio frequency for healthier living, because I'm going to tell you, where there's no, your thyroid, you know how I've told y'all, like on the Patreon channel, I've told y'all that the salt, okay, our salt that's inside our body, it is our body's thermostat. Now, you need something to regulate that, right? Okay, well, it makes sense. Your thyroid regulates that. Okay, your thyroid is responsible for a multitude of biological functions. And I've known that for years. Okay, I've known that for years. And when I learned about the blood type diet, I also learned about how important the thyroid is for not just, metabolism of carbohydrates and things like that, but you have to think about why you put an ice pack right here. It helps to regulate the nervous system. That tells you that your thyroid plays a major, major role in your body's nervous system function, okay? So thyroid health is very important, and you need iodine, all right? Your thyroid needs iodine to function properly. So we'll cover more on that elsewhere, and we are in the process of doing so, okay? We are in the process of the self-care that needs to be, now that we've finally discovered what was going on underneath all of that. The detoxing is like peeling back layers. Well, I had to figure out, okay, hold up a second, because I've been, working out and stuff like that, and I can feel the results on the inside, but I'm like, what's going on with the external? I know focus on the internal and the external follow. I said, but what's taking so long? And that's when God revealed it to me. He said, it's your thyroid. And because I didn't notice it with everything else that was going on, heat-wise, until other things started to calm down, and layer after layer after layer is like gone, and we finally were like, oh, I see what's going on here. Because I was trying to figure out, I was like, why is that? And then there's this little, it's like a little, I don't know, it looks really weird. I honestly can't figure out where that came from. It doesn't match any patterns on my chokers or nothing. But all I know, Jezebel case study, I mean, who knows? She could have pinched me there, whatever. All I know is that definitely my thyroid, this area of my body definitely took a little bit of a beating also. But it was underneath, and it was before she tightened the bra strap, okay? That's the only way that it would have stayed hidden as long as it did. All right, anyhow, that aside, we're fully aware of it. Glory be to God. All about that heightened awareness. So if any of you are still feeling a little off, that's what I would do. I'd check your thyroid, okay? Check your thyroid. But narcissists, okay, not all of them are family-oriented. No. The one that I dated, that the judge threw the book at, okay, remember that one? Yeah, that was the first Jezebel I had seen, and I knew about the glazed over eyes, but I didn't know about the Jezebel yet. But now I know that look. And so, that being said, he got the book thrown at him, lifetime restraining order. And so, him, however, he was not family oriented. No, because a lot of narcissists, when you first start dating them, one of two things, here's the pattern, one of two things is going to happen, okay? One of two things. One, they're going to want you to meet their family really quick, or they're going to wait a little while, 6 months or so, before they will introduce you to their family, their biological blood-related family now, okay? That's one of two ways it can go. But then you also have that third thing. Remember, everything in threes, right? Then you have that third, where there's a narcissist who has pretty much not just alienated their own family, but may not have any family left, but also just knows that they're not welcome in their own family. So you have to remember that too, that you can have a narcissist from a family of non-narcissists. Yes, that's totally possible. Of course. Absolutely, because we have society out here, right? We have this thing called the Matrix. And, it's called the Matrix for a reason. Right? It's a control system. So, where there's no narcissism within the family dynamics, there will be in the societal area, okay? And so, that can rub off on someone. And that could very well be that one that I dated for about 8 months. And he got a lifetime restraining order. He never mentioned family members. He never mentioned introducing me to them. He never, nothing. I mean, nada. And now I mentioned, my mom and things like that, but he never showed any interest in meeting them either. He never showed any interest in introducing me to any of his family, nor did he show any interest in wanting to meet my family members. I will have to say that that's probably one of the most dangerous types of narcissist right there. I want you to think about that. He showed no interest whatsoever in introducing me to any of his family members, nor in meeting any of mine. So, right. So there would be something for you all going forward to always pay attention to. I would say that that's a red flag, and a big one to boot, because that's really strange. Because a lot of narcissists who are from a narcissistic family, really, they want you. You know what I'm saying? Like, they want to show you off. Right? They want to show you to their family because you're their new shiny toy, and they're so excited. So they've told their family all about you. And so you have that too. You have that type of narcissist who's all excited, and within like the first few months, they're like, you have got to come meet my family. I have told them so much about you, and they are excited. They are waiting to meet you, and you're like, really? Oh my gosh, because remember, you're trauma bonded now, like you're so smitten, and you're like, really, your family? Oh, how cool. Yeah, sure. When do we go? Right? Okay, but then you also have that one where they're going to wait a while. They'll say, if you say anything too soon, they'll have a reason why they're not, they'll make up some kind of excuse why you're not invited to meet their family members yet, or what have you. You know what I'm saying? So, not every single narcissist is family oriented. So I had to get on here and talk about this, because the Jezebel that gave birth to me, okay, now you have, she was very family oriented, and in fact, so much so that it was annoying. Okay, I have to tell it like it is. She was so family oriented that it was annoying. I kid you not. And let me go ahead and get to the questions and comments here before I'm going to show you, I'm going to share with you, but it's going to give you that perspective of another self-discovery of something that, this is a journey, okay, in God's reality. We are in this together, because I need to share with you all, as I'm breaking a bad habit, I needed to get to the seed. I said, I need to figure out, because God was taking me down, I don't want to say memory lane, but on a walk this morning, he started taking me to some places memory-wise, and I was like, hey, why are you taking me there? I was like, I'm going to show you something. Okay. And so when God does that, it's not living in the past. You all need to understand what self-reflection is. It's going to take you through moments of your life so that you can connect dots, especially when you are purging the subconscious mind, because I'm trying to break a bad habit. That is the reason it's very difficult is because it was so freaking normalized on the Jezebel, let's just say on my mother's side. And I would never probably have get any of this or made the connection if she were still alive. I can't say, I don't know. But the only thing I could say about her passing away is that I'm glad she can no longer abuse anyone anymore. She wasn't physical. It was verbal and mental, big time. Okay? Psychological, emotional, and all that. She wasn't physical, but everything else she was. Now, of course, you know, I had to figure this out myself, just like many of us. So he had me go down some things because patterns, you know how I tell y'all, patterns tell a story. Oh, this self-discovery story is going to illustrate exactly why I'm so big about that. That patterns tell a story. Hold that thought, all right? Because she was so family-oriented, okay? That narcissist was so family-oriented that it was annoying, okay? Okay, all right, okay, get your dinner. That's fine. Y'all go get your dinner, get your lunch, get your breakfast, get whatever it is, okay? And no, I have not. Back to what I was talking about. Have I been feeling unwell due to thyroid? No, it's not a thyroid issue. Let me clarify that, okay? It's just that my thyroid got a little bit bruised and was unable to regulate my body's internal heat. So basically my thyroid was, well, if you want to just say the thyroid got a little overheated. You know, think about, you know, and so no, I've not been drained of energy. I've not been, you know, because remember, a lot of it, mindset. My metabolism, though, I was trying to figure out what was good, because I know my body and I know my metabolism. I was like, hold on a second, because we finally purged the subconscious of the Jezebel case studies, constant reference to food. Now I know why she did that. Because she had to plant a subliminal message to try and get me thinking about food all the time. See, this ties into the self-discovery I'm about to tell y'all about. All right, regarding my mother, okay, who, yes, was a narcissist, Jezebel, but before I even knew all that, the pattern of the seed planting that took place about the hoarding and things in the kitchen cupboards, like packing them jam-packed full, the spices we talked about the other day, like why I developed that in my subconscious mind. Where did I get that from? Why was I engaging in that kind of behavior? Because I know there's abundance in what we need, not what we want. So I said to myself, why do I feel the need to, you know, in the kitchen, but in the living room and a bedroom, anywhere else, I'm like, let's declutter. But in the kitchen, I had the opposite way of thinking, and I was trying to figure out why, and we got to the bottom of it. And it ties into me breaking the habit that we're breaking, which, by the way, we're doing wonderful, so thank you, okay? But no, I have not been feeling unwell at all because of the thyroid issue. It's not an issue, it's just that we discovered where some additional self-care is needed, all right, and that would be the thyroid. So thank you for asking. I appreciate that. And no, that narcissist who's not family-oriented never wanted, no, I didn't need, it's like he didn't even have any friends. Remember, as they age, narcissists lose, okay? Narcissists do not have friends. The older they get, people leave. They chase everybody off, period. Okay, that's what a narcissist does. They chase people off. And so, no, never mention family members. And incest is a thing with narcs, absolutely. Sure, because, well, yeah, because anything that's sinful for a narcissist, absolutely. But let me go ahead and wet my whistle here. All right. So, all right. Story time. God had me self-reflect because I was sitting there wondering, what is it about the kitchen? There's something about this kitchen. It's not the kitchen in my extended stay hotel room or anything like that. It's just the kitchen. A kitchen. I was like, there's an association that we've made subconsciously with drinking and the kitchen. Well, now, the kitchen is where you prepare your food and where you store your food, right? And I was like, okay, and then, reflecting on how much of our day we actually spend in a kitchen. If you think about a typical weekend day when you're not at work, where's your coffee pot? Where's your teapot? You want a snack, where's it at? It's like the kitchen, right? So you got to go and you want to get a bottle of water. You got to go to the kitchen, right? You want to get, for me, let's say I wanted to get one of my fruit bars. Where is it at? In the kitchen, right? In the cupboard. If I want to make some peanut butter crackers, where's all that at? In the kitchen, okay? So your food, okay, is a big thing, right? You're in the kitchen. But there was more to it than that for me. Now that I have purged the subconscious of the Jezebel's installation, if you will, of thinking about food all the time, because she knew what she did to my thyroid. Right? That Jezebel knew what she knew that she bruised my thyroid. So she had to get me in thinking about food all the time, because if a thyroid isn't functioning as it should, slow metabolism, you'll put on weight. And putting on weight for me, right, my body's not designed to carry that kind of weight. So anyhow, y'all remember, we've taken care of that. We're about 20, if not 22 pounds lighter than when we landed in this city that we are residing in. If y'all see some of the videos, okay, when I first got here, and you can see the pictures, you can see where I started to kind of like swell up a little. My arms were a lot bigger than they are now, okay? Yeah. So we've dropped quite a bit. Okay, we didn't realize that it's because of the thyroid. That's why. It's not that I was overeating per se. No, I was eating more frequently than I should have been, but my thyroid, my metabolism was off, if you will. But now we purged the subconscious of that. All right, so we broke that negative association. We got that out, because I was like, why does she keep referencing food all the time? Why does she keep making everything about food? That's why. I had to get in my subconscious mind so that when that would happen, right, because she's so freaking jealous. Remember, y'all, Jezebels are extremely jealous, okay? Narcissists are jealous, period. But Jezebel, that's exactly what she was trying to do. She had to get that in my mind to try and get me to think, because I typically never did that. I don't think about food all the time. No. Because I'm like, I'll eat when I'm hungry. If I'm not hungry, I'm not going to eat. It's that simple. That's how I've always been. And so we got me back. Like, oh, okay. Because that's part of what I've been working on as far as purging my subconscious, by the way, you all, is to stop thinking about food all the time. Because I was doing that a lot. And especially since I discovered I don't have to be lactose or gluten-free anymore. I never had to be. That was a ruse because of radio frequency poisoning. So I was like, so I did go through a little bit of narcissistic thinking with, well, dang, I'm going to go enjoy this and enjoy that because I've been feeling deprived of this or that. And I had to lose that. That's for somebody. If you are still unlearning, like we talked about the other day, if you are still unlearning narcissistic habits and narcissistic thinking habits, that's one of them. Right? Don't go just because you discovered, that's a radio frequency poisoning symptom. Well, then shoot, I can have that steak. And you start telling yourself you can have it because you were feeling deprived. Lose that thinking. All right? Think nutrition-wise. You're going to have that steak now because you know you need the iron. You know you need the B12. You know you need the animal protein and animal fat. Okay? You got to change that thinking. All right? Get that narcissistic feeling deprived. I went through it. Okay? Feeling deprived of certain foods. We got to lose that. Okay, so we lost that. We purged the subconscious of that. Michelle is back, where Michelle don't think about food all day. Michelle's like, I'll eat when I need to, not when I want to. I'm back to knowing, oh, I feel full now. It's like now my body's internal heat is at a place where I can tell when I'm full versus when I'm hungry. Because there for a while, I couldn't. I didn't realize it was my thyroid playing a role, but it was the body's internal heat. Remember, I tell y'all, that's no joke. That radio frequency is no joke. Okay? So anyway, the poisoning, that is. So, God had me go down a little bit of memory lane because, the patterns that tell a story. Patterns tell a story. And this is the story that played out for me because I needed to get to the seed. See, to purge the subconscious of something like a bad habit that, smoking cigarettes was easier for me because that was a seed that got planted. I had 2 biological parents that smoked. Now, my biological dad quit smoking several years before I did. So that was kind of a good motivator for me. But growing up, that was easy. I didn't have to do a self-reflection thing to figure out where the seed was planted to normalize that. Because, and then the Jezebel that gave birth to me, she smoked cigarettes up to her last day. So, whatever. But, feeling like it's normal to have a drink every day, that is quite, it's been a challenge, but we're getting there, y'all. Challenges can be overcome. Because I had to figure out, I said, okay, where did the seed get planted where that became so normal? Because of the mother's side of the family, not my biological dad. Okay, it's the mother's side, because my biological dad, when my parents divorced, he moved back to California. Oh gosh. Okay, I already lived in, I want to say it was before or shortly after I got back to North Carolina from living in Miami for a few years. Okay, yes, I lived in Miami, Florida for a few years chasing a modeling dream. And so that was quite some time ago. Okay, so that's 20 plus years ago. So he moved back to California. Now, when I was a truck driver with the ex-angry narc, and we would go out there and visit a few times, so I did get to see him in that way. But I did not have any of his influence in the physical. Okay, so everything from early adulthood, young adulthood on up was on my mother's side of the family. But it goes beyond that. And God needed me to know that. God had to show me that. Because my mother, who was a narcissist, a Jezebel, who was very family oriented to the point where it was annoying. Now, that being said, what happened was, as a kid growing up in California, okay, we moved to North Carolina when I was 8. So I remember a good bit of being in California. I remember that we were pretty well off. Okay, we could be considered, at that time, we were considered somewhat of the wealthy class, because I remember getting dolled up. Mom would get us all dolled up. We'd be going to get together. We'd go, they had some friends who had a yacht. We'd go there. My parents had their own businesses, and so when the businesses went under, the mother basically isolated my dad from his family now by moving all of us to North Carolina where her parents were. This is where the family influence comes in. And I had to discover where the seed was planted that drinking alcohol became normal every day. Well, mind you, of course, at 8 years old, I'm not drinking, right? No, we're talking how early the seed got planted. These are the things that I believe we go through, and I would tell you that it was very therapeutic for me, because I count it all joy that I now know where that seed was planted, because now that we know where the seed was planted, we can start digging it up right? We can, you know, that tree, right? It's grown, right? That seed, it had roots, right? So it got rooted in that subconscious mind, right? It got rooted, that normalization of it got rooted in that subconscious mind. And all the subliminal messages throughout my life telling me that it was normal to have a drink every day, when I know that it's not. So it's like, okay, where was this planted? Because now we got to figure out, we got to start cutting the roots, right? We got to, you know what I'm saying? It's like when you think of a tree that's been uprooted, look at all those roots, right? From years of growing. Oh, that's a lot. And it is called visual. I have not come across anything, but y'all know about classical conditioning, right? Pavlov's dog with the sound of the bell and food association. Okay, well, this is very similar, but it was visual. Okay, all of this was a visual conditioning that took place in my life that led to the normalization of doing that. And I said to myself, oh my gosh, wow, I did not realize it went that far back. So it makes me think of a tree that's been uprooted and you see all those roots. And I said, wow, that's a long time. That's a lot of years. You know, yeah, I mean, because 8 years old and we are moved to North Carolina. And so shortly, you know, we live with, when I say shortly, it was a brief time, okay, until my parents found a trailer, okay, going from relatively wealthy status to, well, pretty much the opposite. Because we know that, well, oh yeah, the Jezebel that gave birth to me, yeah, it was all her doing. Absolutely. Now, I'm not saying that my dad will admit that he played a role in it, because shortly after we got into the trailer, after they found us a home, you know, so we can move out of the grandparents, because that's where we stayed for a short time. We stayed with the grandparents until my parents found a place. And now my mother's dad, my grandpa, was a daily, and I mean daily, beer drinker. As a kid, I mean, whatever, right? Well, it wasn't long after my parents found the trailer, you know, they found us a home, we get settled. My dad comes to me, I have a song I wrote titled, I Was 8 When Daddy Cried. Excuse me for a moment. Because it was in that trailer he came to us and admitted that he had a drug problem. And he was going into rehab. And he did. He got clean. Glory be to God. And I know that because of him getting clean is when he started to see my mother for who she really was. Well, I mean, of course, he sobered up. She did not. Okay? So, even though they hadn't decided to separate yet, after he gets back from rehab and is clean now, they started going to church. Okay, so we go to church. We get baptized, the sibling and I. We get baptized and all that. And so there was a lady who taught flute. I wanted to learn how to play the flute. So I took flute lessons from the lady in the church. And so that went on for a little while. And so I'm very into classical music, very much into it. My dad, he was in a band. He played trombone, trumpet, and things. So he's on the brass side of things. So I took up the woodwind. So I came into it naturally, right? I was honest. I mean, you know, my dad playing the instruments, so I naturally was interested. Well, with that being said, I like marching band music. my mother's dad used to sit at the kitchen table because their table and chair, it was passed off as the dining area, but it was in the kitchen. Okay, it was in the kitchen. I need y'all to follow this. Okay, patterns tell a story, because this is how God led me to the root, and I mean root, where the seed got planted, that it was normal to drink every day, and it was because my grandpa, and it was a visual, and I didn't even know it. That's how far back it goes. But every single time I would go over there, he would be sitting at the table. Usually, you know, after the day was done now, mind you. He would do whatever in the garden stuff. But he would sit at that table and put on some John Philip Sousa marching band music, classical music, big band music, right? I'm into it. And Grandpa was funny. It made me laugh. So I always would find some time to sit at the table with Grandpa. He would play spoons. He'd play spoons all the time. Also, not all the time, but a lot of time. He'd play spoons to the music. And I thought that was so cool. As a kid, I was like, man, that is so cool. Do it again, right? But he's drinking beer. So I'm around it. Like, so now fast forward a little bit. I'm a teenager now. My biological parents have split. I saw it coming. They split. My dad stayed sober. He's staying clean. The mother's not. She's drinking every day. So I'm around it. And her dating physical abusers, by the way, 2 of them that I recall. Now, one of them I was in junior high. She got us an apartment where I walked to school. That's when I picked up street ball, and I was playing street ball with the guys. I was a bit of a tomboy during that season of my life. And she was back in college, though. She went back to college. So I pretty much was cooking my own dinner. I didn't mind that. Mom was going to school. That's all good. I walk home from school. I cook my own oodles and noodles, grilled cheese sandwich. We good. And, you know, of course, the apartment, it was an apartment. There was no big kitchen and table thing there. So we didn't think anything of it, but she's still doing her thing, going to school. And then later in life, you know, I decided for a season while I was, after I graduated high school. After I graduated high school, I lived with my dad again for a little while, back in the trailer, where I kind of grew up. Because it was my mom who left and my dad kept the trailer. And so, with that being said, in that trailer, there was no table and chair in the kitchen. The kitchen was there was a wall and then a china cabinet. You had to actually come out of the kitchen to go and sit in an actual dining room. So that was different. But after that, okay, and I go to Miami and I come back to North Carolina after a few years to, you know, because it was what it was. And staying with the mother's sister for a short time, and she found a house to rent. And the house had the kitchen. You walk in from the carport, and you walk into the kitchen. Table and chairs in the kitchen, right? It's supposed to be passed off as a dining area, but it's in the kitchen, okay? Literally, I mean, the kitchen right there, table and chair. I'm telling you, I did not make this connection until God had me go through, because I had to figure out where I now know the seed was planted at the table, in the kitchen, listening to marching band, big band music, classical music with my grandpa who drank beer every day. That's where the seed got planted. But now we're talking about how the seed got watered. Okay? As I've taken y'all through the timeline that God took me through. Because how it was in her subconscious and then got passed into mine. Alright? As the kitchen thing. Because I didn't start noticing the excess spices and jam-packed pantry and stuff like that in the kitchen. But she always, like I said, she was so family-oriented to a point where sometimes it was annoying. But she always liked to hold family gatherings, family get-togethers. That stems from the fact my grandpa would do the same thing. And there was always a fight, some kind of argument because of the narcissistic family dynamic there that I didn't know about. I just remember that the uncle and grandpa's friend, after some drinking, didn't think anything of it. But the Jezebel that gave birth to me carried on that tradition. And because it was already normalized in my subconscious, I wasn't thinking anything else. I mean, what was I going to... This is normal. But at the house that she got to rent, I living with her once again, as I was a bartender at the place where I met the angry ex-hubby, narc. But still, the table and chairs in the kitchen where people would hang out and drink. And then fast forward a little bit to where I'm now married to the angry ex-narc, and we're truck drivers. And they're a different house now. She had met somebody who later on becomes the step Jezebel. It's like she dated a few here and there, and then finally, the final one that she stayed with until her dying day. And the house that they got to rent after that one, again, you guessed it, table and chairs in the kitchen. Like, I can remember it like it was yesterday. The kitchen here, and it had a little island came around. Very similar to the previous one, but on the other side of that island, boom, kitchen, table and chairs, where play cards and drink. Now, the step Jezebel, he didn't do a whole lot of drinking. Every now and then, he would have a drink, but not anything like her. She just kept at it, carrying on the tradition, holding family gathering. That's the season where I started to catch on. She was always trying to make you feel guilty or make you feel obligated to attend this blood-related family gathering. That's what narcissists do. And I was like, dude, I am hauling a load, okay, in a 53-foot trailer. I'm halfway across country, and you're trying to make me feel guilty. I cannot just whip this thing around and come because you think I'm supposed to come because it's a family, whatever. I can't make it. But boy, she didn't like that. So anyhow, apparently, I know why the relocation of so many times. Like, narcissists, they get bored easy, right? So they want something new. So now, there's another house that they find is in a different city now. In fact, it located where I came from, okay, Rockwell, North Carolina. Right around the corner from the house that I left. Because those two finally were able to buy a house, and they found one around the corner from this one that they were renting. But again, you walk in from the side, from the carport, into the kitchen, where there's a table and chair in the kitchen. And I said, my gosh. I said, I see the pattern here. I see the pattern. So that tells me that while she was growing up, that grandpa, because creatures of habit, right? That grandpa, her dad, pretty much did the same thing. Kitchen, table and chair, sit there with the radio going, drinking beer, hanging out at the kitchen table. Well, dining room table, but in the kitchen. And I said, okay, hold on a second. That is how the seed got planted. I get it. And so it got planted in her subconscious. She carried on the tradition. But then it got, the seed of the normalization got planted in my subconscious. But I'm not carrying out the tradition. You see, I'm not carrying out the family, narcissistic family dynamics with that. I'm not carrying out, you know, a kitchen table, you know, with chairs and having a bunch of people over hanging out at the kitchen table, drinking. No, that's the difference there. But I had to figure out where it's coming from. So then I said, okay, so she must have, because those are not just the 3 houses, okay, but many places I said, does she purposely seek out places to live that would have a plate in the kitchen where a table and chair would go? Well, yeah, because that last house, the one that I had a room at, where I stayed for about 4.5 years before moving to Florida, there's a kitchen and there's a table and chairs in there, but the heyday is gone. You see, the heyday is gone, and the living room is now big enough, but it's a much bigger kitchen, and the pantry was always stuffed full. And even if there was a full jar of mayonnaise in the refrigerator, she still had at least 2 in the pantry. It never dawned on me, because I caught myself doing something similar in this hotel room. I said, wait a minute, hold up a second. It's just me. I had said, it's just me. How long? This thing of mayonnaise, it's going to take me a while to go through that. It's not like I have a sandwich that needs mayonnaise on a daily basis. No. So why am I feeling the need to have this? Aha. See, that's where blah, blah. I said, because the rest of the room, I'm like, okay, declutter, reorganize. I'm cool. I'm like, what can we, doing that assessment, right? To get rid of what's not serving, but the kitchen, complete opposite way of thinking. Because over the years, that pattern of visual conditioning, but her family-oriented nature was to always have a kitchen big enough to have table and chairs in there, because whenever she would, even in the last house, before the aging process really started taking place and there was no more gatherings or get-togethers or what have you, always family gathering. She was always big about that. She loved to play hostess. That was her thing. And a lot of times with Grandpa, when they would have a gathering, what always came out for card playing was a card table and chairs in the kitchen. In the kitchen. I said, wow. So then you have all of that going on. So now I understand why drinking every day became normalized, because that was embedded so deeply into my subconscious for many years. And so, I mean, making that connection, a pattern that tell a story. And then now I had to go back and think, well, okay, so where's that coming from? Because I'm not living in fear. I do not have a fear of running out, because I know that God provides. He always has. He always will. He provides for our every need. So why do I feel the need to have this backup mayo when I have a full jar of mayo in the fridge already? Visual conditioning. And then that narcissistic habit of feeling as though it's always good to have a backup. Or you want to make sure you don't run out of this. The fear of running out. I thought, well, I don't have a fear of running out. I mean, if I'm done with mayonnaise and that's that, but I'm not going to need it for a couple of days, there's no need to panic. So I'm like, wow, I have to unlearn the visual conditioning from the narcissistic mother. So, wow, okay, I just wanted to share that with you all because that is what self-reflecting looks like. To go back and realize, hold on a minute. Because I asked God, so glory be to God, He's answering my prayers. Because I said, I need to know where the seed was planted so I could start cutting them roots. I said, I need to start. Yeah, I go get me, what are those tools called, them pruners? Right, the pruner tools, whatever. Yeah, I got to start cutting them roots. And I tell you, that was huge. A huge breakthrough for me to realize, okay, wow. No wonder, 35 years of, that's a long time. And I know for some of y'all it's more than that. But yeah, it takes a while to overcome that and to realize that it was so embedded in that subconscious mind. That's why I'm telling y'all, the purging of the subconscious had to be done. It's part of the renewing of the mind for us to be transformed. There's no way that I can continue the transformation process and still be doing what we used to do. That's why I need to break this habit. That's the old me. So we got to stop, but I had to get to the roots. I had to get to the seed. I said, where'd that seed, where did it get planted? And it got planted in my mind, in my subconscious mind when I was 8 years old. "34 years. I said 35, but close enough. So anyway, okay, well, a lot of us, listen, chosen one, it's not so much that we aren't family oriented. It's just that once we realize that they're narcissists, we're supposed to not be partakers with them. God's pretty clear about that. God says right here, from such turn away. So once we identify them as a narcissist, but see, not only that, because we're so different, they don't want us around anyway, because they know that if we were to come around, that it's going to irritate their demon spirits. They know that. Well, they may not know they're demon spirits, but they just know they don't want us around because it makes them uncomfortable. That's all they know. And so we often are cut off from them. And so it's, hey, good riddance as far as I'm concerned. I mean, if they are a narcissist, that's it. Done. And as far as me having a large extended family, I don't even know. I know we got this kingdom family. Yeah, this growing community of spiritual warriors for Christ. This is our kingdom family. Put that in the comments below. We are kingdom family. That's right. Put it in the comments below. Even on the replay, we are kingdom family. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. Okay, I can tell you that your sister did not die from, well, that's another ism, of course. But a radio frequency poisoning got her pretty early. Yep. Big band, I guess so. I don't really know all the names. All I know is that, you're talking about just, like marching bands and brass, trombones, trumpets, that kind of stuff. That they were into. And no, the question about the ex-angry narcissist husband, he used to talk trash about the mother all the time. And at the time, I was like, really? But he used to talk trash about her all the time. And so, yeah, the hoarding in the kitchen thing comes from the, shortage of, yes, that scarcity mindset. Thank you. Exactly. I never realized that she had a fear of running out. I never realized that she was afraid of never having enough. I never realized that. I know that she, they said that her growing up and the family dynamic with her growing up, I know now was very narcissistic, yes, but they did not have a whole lot. And I've heard narcissists later on in life make the excuse about all this stuff that they've got. Well, I got to keep this stuff. I never got to have any of this when I was a kid. I didn't have all of this. So my thinking is that she Because the stories that we were told about the lack of food growing up and things like that, because Grandpa would always go to the local VFW and spend all their money on booze. Now, I mean, the truth to that, okay, I can believe it, but, you know, so it always left them without enough food for the entire family. That's what I was told. So it makes sense now, growing up, she took on that mindset, the narcissistic mindset of being afraid of running out, not ever having enough. Because remember, we hear a lot of narcissists when they put together gatherings and stuff, that they're always afraid there won't be enough food. There won't be enough. There's never going to be enough. It's like they had that scarcity mindset talking. Okay, and the first, okay, I was 14 when I had my first beer. But now, was I drinking every day then? No. No. That did not come about until later in life. Okay, the feeling as though it was normal to do it every day did not come until later in life. And that would be after I left the ex-husband. Okay, that I had my you know, we all have those few years, if you will, of that's where I had a little bit of a downward spiral, and I developed a dependency on it. And so, yes. And okay, so I'm trying to follow you all. Yes, we are a kingdom family. And yes, it depends on the size of the mayonnaise. It can last for a long time. It don't take much. And yes, my grandpa was a narcissist. And so was the grandma. I realize that now. Okay, yeah, 14. I was 14 when I tasted my first beer, and I said, ooh, Michelle likes beer. That was not a good sign. Okay, so I have no idea what that question was for, as far as dying behind those people. I have no idea what you mean. And so whenever you come in here and you start asking questions that make no sense, I am going to, yep, that's it. You're done. You're gone. Okay. You're gone. Don't come in the live streams or on my videos and start asking. I don't know. Do these people die behind these? What's that got to do with what we're talking about? You are going to get banned. You're going to get banned. That has nothing to do. So y'all ignore that, okay? Ignore that kind of garbage. Ignore that kind of garbage. Don't come in here doing that. And so, well, there you go, Chris. Congratulations. I'm glad that you were fortunate to have, at least you had some normal grandparents. So, honestly, that's awesome. And for all of y'all who at least had that. You know what, though? I honestly, listen, yeah, even though biologically, here's my uncle, my late grandpa on my dad's side. Remember, it was my dad's uncle adopted him. So he technically is my grandpa on my dad's side, but biologically, realistically, is my uncle. But nonetheless, because he's very much into that subconscious mind. I've talked about him, how he talks about our thoughts govern the majority of our lives, and it does. So I have to quit thinking that, right, it's like, I know it's not normal to drink every day. Like, your day's done, you got nothing else. It's like, okay, now we can have a drink. It's like that just became so normalized because I heard it for many years. That 5 o'clock somewhere, you know, I heard it. But there was just so much to that story. And for those of you tuning in a bit later, I highly encourage y'all to catch this on the replay, because I illustrate the importance of why I say patterns tell a story, because they do. And when God takes us down memory lane to do some self-reflection, to get to the root, to get to the underlying cause, to figure out what it is that just will not let go of that subconscious mind. And I'm going to say, glory be to God, we finally know. We know where the seed was planted, we know when, and we know how. So now, we can do something about it while we continue to ice pack. For anybody who may be having thyroid I don't want to say issues, but if your body temperature, if you're having trouble with your body's temperature getting regulated, check your thyroid. Got ice pack right there. Okay, ice pack. Okay, so you regulate that nervous system. And so, okay, you had some normal uncles and aunts. Congratulations. Okay, your drinking habit in the 20s. Right, you realize that, right. Okay. Adrenal issue. If you want, you can send me an email. Okay, you can further explain that to me via email. We don't want to get, you don't want to get too personal, okay, in the public chat there. All right. If you know, depending. Oh, okay. Your kidneys. Okay. Okay. To help you with that, if you feel that's what it was, you know, extreme muscle tension. Okay, I need y'all to understand. Radio frequency goes to that extreme muscle tension. Okay, that extreme muscle tension. It can hold in the bodily heat. So when it's holding in bodily heat, it can be a little harder to urinate. All right, it's just the fact. So you want to take in that consideration as well. And so you don't want to, you don't want to drink too much water, okay? I mean, they say like a liter, maybe 2. But at least, I say for myself, I know at least 1 of these per day, at least. Okay? But you definitely want to think about your body's internal temperatures. Okay? Because your thyroid is related to that as well. Your thyroid helps, it's not, I mean, regulating your body's temperature through metabolizing that salt. Your kidneys are responsible for eliminating that excess salt. So it's all connected, okay? It's all connected. And I know it's been a little over an hour. But yeah, okay, so yeah, drop me an email and we'll work on that. And so yeah, you don't want, remember, God is pretty clear about excess. Okay, and that means excess in anything, excess in simply water, excess in eating, excess in drinking, you know, that thing. And a lot of us have learned the hard way that, you know, God says that, you know, wine is strong drink, and it is. So you have to be mindful of that. But so is liquor. You know, beer, that depends, but still, I'm just saying, you really want to, I'm still digesting, you know, the self-discovery today, all about the table and chairs in the kitchen, and just how ingrained that, oh my gosh, just how ingrained that got in my subconscious. I'm wowed. You know, I love it when God wows me. Because like I said earlier, you know, when he was doing that, I was like, I ain't looking back. He goes, no. He said, I'm going to show you something. Because I asked, right, he was answering my prayer. So I want y'all to remember that, okay? Don't get panicked or anything like that, because you're not looking back, okay? You're not looking back when God has us do that. You asked him a question, you prayed about something, and he takes you down a little bit of memory lane here and there because he needs you to connect those dots. Part of the pattern. He's going to show you the pattern. See, that's what it was when he said, I'm going to show you something. That, because he knows we're big about that. We know that patterns tell a story. So he needed to show me the pattern. And how that repetition, okay, and how it got so ingrained in my subconscious mind through visual conditioning in large part. Okay, it didn't have to be verbal. It didn't have to make a sound. Visual conditioning, not just with the normalization of drinking every day, but just the other thing in the kitchen in general. And I was like, oh my gosh, no wonder. Because I don't have that much space in that extended stay hotel room. In that cabinet, it's not that much space. But boy, it's jam-packed full. And I was like, where did I get that mindset? Oh yeah, we're working on it. I was like, oh, we good now. I said, we good now, because now that we know, that's the thing, we have to know where it's coming from so we can nip it in the butt. All right. So that's that. Okay. Yeah, they would. And I understand that there, yeah, it's been told that there are some people who who would drink alcohol because the water was contaminated. We get that. I understand that one too. Yeah, because it is a permanent term now, because remember what I said before, renovated or not, it's still a freaking hotel room. It ain't no real apartment. Come on now. Humble. See things as they really are. You know, nice and all, yes, and I'm grateful, absolutely, for the stability and a place to lay my head and think, yes, absolutely, I'm grateful, 100%. But it's still a hotel room. It's an extended stay hotel room with a kitchen, a small one. So it's not because it's a small kitchen that I need to unlearn this thinking. It's going forward. I cannot take, none of us can, we cannot take the narcissistic thinking with us into the next season. That's what I heard the Lord say. He said, you can't take that with you. So we have to overcome it in the here and now. And that's what's going on. The self-discovery, self-reflecting, and we are purging that subconscious. And I just gave you a great story, a great narrative, a great everything to help you all understand just how deep that conditioning goes with narcissism and the narcissists around us and the social influence, just how influential they are and how they have been our entire lives, and the things that we've got to connect and things that we have to accept and go, wow, we have got to purge that from the subconscious mind, because we can't take that with us. So you know how God removes people from our lives that are not meant to go with us where he's taken us? Okay, well, he's removing things from our subconscious mind. There you go. All right? And we got to purge that stuff from the subconscious mind, because a lot of it contains narcissistic thinking patterns. And we can't take that with us in the next season. God said you can't take that with you. Part of the renewing of the mind. We have to face it. We have to go, oh my gosh, we cannot keep thinking that way. We cannot keep doing things the old way in the kingdom of God. So this is God training us and molding us and reshaping us. And included in that is changing that mindset. Right, living in the past is very toxic. Yes, it is. So there you go. Right, they're not going to call it what it is. Of course not. In marketing, right? And the matrix, it is a narcissistic matrix. So they got to sell. Yeah, they got to put some glitz and glam on that, right? Oh yeah, they got to call it luxury living. And I'm going to say, honestly, yeah, it's got some of that. It does have a little bit. I mean, you have access to a gym, to a pool, laundry facility. I mean, so yeah, you got a little bit of luxury there. Sure. Remember, 80% deception, 20% legit. So you have to have some of that luxury in there somewhere. Awareness. Right, living in the past. Living in the past, God's clear about it. We don't do that. Luke 9, verse 62. Got to keep our hand to the plow, and this is part of it, that renewing of the mind. We're keeping our hand to the plow. But God says, I'm going to show you something. He said, I got to show you the pattern. Where it was planted. Where that seed got planted, that it was normal to do that every day. And so now I'm excited, because I'm like, oh man, now we know what we can do going forward, right? Absolutely. Glory be to God. Okay, so there you go. It's been quite a while. I can see the time now. It's been, wow, a little over an hour, and we are going to wrap this up, y'all. We're going to wrap this up. This has been a wonderful, wonderful afternoon with you all. Let's just chat again. My apologies for getting up here a little bit later. We were running a little behind today, but we still got up here and delivered the message. And we will continue to do so. Okay? Okay, lovely talk. Yes. And I do, y'all. I feel better being able to share this with you all, because it's going to help you all. Those of you who are, trying to break a bad habit, or you're going to relate. You can take my journey and fine tune and tweak it. You'll figure it out. You'll know. You'll find the dot connections. Absolutely. When God says, I'm going to show you something, we like it when God's going to show us something, because it's going to help. Right? Remember, God is about positive change, right? For us to be transformed into the best version, we have to go through this. We have to go through this self-discovery journey, self-reflecting, and understanding where it all comes from so we can make the necessary changes, including the mindset changes that need to be made. And I also wanted to share that with you all one-on-one, real time, because that way you know that when I come up here and I'm giving you all these messages, I too am still on this journey with you. I too am still self-discovering. I too am still connecting dots and changing my thinking. So I'm not up here preaching and teaching to you all stuff that I'm not doing myself, because I am, as we all go through this together. Glory be to God. So, yes. All right, everybody, sending love and light to all fellow warriors. Thank you for watching, listening, and for your continued support. Till next time, let's show some gratitude to the Heavenly Father, and you keep being you. In Jesus' name, amen.